Have you ever considered that the recurring storm of anger clouding your mind is not a random weather pattern, but a cycle you are unknowingly feeding? The Stoics knew that these destructive loops are not our fate, but a habit of the mind, and any habit can be broken. 8 Habits to Break Anger Loops. Emotional Reset, Stoic Insight, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Understanding anger's hidden triggers. Anger is rarely a bolt of lightning from a clear blue sky. More often, it is a fire that smolders long before it bursts into a destructive flame, fed by hidden kindling we consistently fail to see. We find ourselves repeatedly ensnared by the same familiar flash of rage, often triggered by seemingly trivial events. A careless comment from a loved one, an unexpected traffic delay, or a simple unmet expectation. In these moments, we feel like puppets on a string, our emotional state pulled and twisted by forces we cannot seem to comprehend, leaving us feeling exhausted, regretful, and deeply ashamed of our own reactions. Living this way means we are constantly on the defensive, our precious inner peace held hostage by the next inevitable provocation. We mistakenly identify the final spark for the entire fire, failing to see the long trail of gunpowder leading directly to it. A trail laid by our own unexamined beliefs, assumptions, and vulnerabilities. The first transformative habit on this path to emotional freedom is to become a dedicated student of your own anger, a detective of the soul who seeks to understand the true root cause rather than just reacting to the surface-level symptom. The solution is to bravely bring the hidden triggers from the darkness of unconscious reaction into the brilliant light of conscious awareness. The profound Stoic insight here is that anger is almost always a secondary emotion. It is a fiery and dramatic mask for something deeper and more vulnerable, a fear of being disrespected, a feeling of powerlessness, or a perceived sense of profound injustice. By having the courage to look beneath the roaring flames of anger, we can finally begin to address the true, underlying wound. Imagine your anger as a guard dog barking ferociously at the gate of your soul. Instead of fighting or yelling at the dog, the wise approach is to calmly ask, what treasure is this loyal dog protecting? The actionable steps to cultivating this habit are simple but require consistency. First, begin an anger journal. After an episode of anger has fully passed and your calm has returned, take a moment to write down not just what happened, but what you believe the event meant about you. Did it mean you were being disrespected? Did it mean you were losing control? Second, ask yourself, what was I feeling in the split second right before the anger hit? Was it embarrassment, anxiety, or disappointment? Third, over time, look for the recurring patterns in your journal. You will inevitably begin to see the same underlying beliefs and fears triggering your anger again and again. This practice will transform you from a helpless victim of your anger into a world-class expert on it. You will gain a profound and intimate understanding of your own inner workings. And this self-knowledge is the first and most critical step toward lasting freedom. The anger loops will begin to lose their formidable power as you expose their origins to the light. Your practice for this week is to become that compassionate detective. Commit to making at least 3 detailed entries in your new anger journal. Your only goal is to observe and understand without a shred of judgment. Understanding our triggers is the essential first step. But what do we do in the heat of the moment, when the emotional tide first begins to rise? Our next lesson will teach you the critical skill of recognizing that very first wave. If you are ready to reclaim your inner peace, support our shared mission by liking this video and subscribing to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 2. Recognizing the first emotional wave. The most skilled mariner is not the one who can fight the hurricane, but the one who sees the first subtle shift in the wind and the first dark cloud on the horizon, allowing them to prepare the ship for the coming storm. In the same way, emotional mastery is not about suppressing the storm of anger, but about recognizing its first faint whispers long before it begins to roar. We often experience our anger as a sudden explosion, a flash flood that overwhelms us without any warning. We go from a state of relative calm to complete rage in an instant, feeling as though we had no choice in the matter. This perceived suddenness leaves us feeling helpless, believing that our anger is an uncontrollable force of nature, rather than a process that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The problem with this perception is that it robs us of our agency. If we believe the storm appears from nowhere, then all we can do is endure its destruction. We fail to see the crucial window of opportunity that exists between the initial trigger and the full-blown emotional reaction. A precious space where our freedom and power reside. The transformative habit we must cultivate is that of heightened somatic awareness, the practice of learning to feel the very first physical and mental signs of a rising emotional wave. This is the skill of becoming exquisitely attuned to the subtle precursors of anger. The core idea, a cornerstone of Stoic mindfulness, is that every powerful emotion is preceded by a physical echo. Before your mind fully comprehends anger, your body is already reacting. Your jaw may clench, a knot may form in your stomach, your shoulders may tighten and rise toward your ears, or a flush of heat may spread across your chest. These are the first raindrops of the coming downpour. By learning to recognize these signals, you give yourself the gift of time. Time to pause, time to breathe, and time to choose a different path. The actionable steps to developing this awareness are practiced in moments of calm to prepare for moments of storm. First, several times a day, take 30 seconds to do a full body scan. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your jaw, your shoulders, your stomach, your hands. Simply notice any tension without judging it. Second, when you make an entry in your anger journal, add a section called First Physical Signs. Try to recall what you felt in your body right before the anger peaked. Third, begin to associate these physical cues with the need to pause. Let a clenched jaw become your internal alarm bell, signaling a moment to step back. The benefit of this habit is that anger will no longer feel like a sudden ambush. You will see it coming from a distance, giving you the space and clarity to act with wisdom rather than reacting with blind force. You become the skilled mariner of your own soul, able to navigate any emotional weather with grace. Your motivational exercise is to set a reminder on your phone to perform a 30-second body scan 3 times a day. Your only goal is to become familiar with the landscape of your body, so you can notice when a storm is brewing. Once we can recognize the first wave, we must know what to do in the precious moments that follow. Our next lesson will introduce the most powerful tool in the Stoic arsenal, the sacred pause. What physical signs do you notice when anger begins to stir? Sharing your experience in the comments can help others identify their own patterns. Lesson 3. Creating distance through Stoic pause. Between the spark of a trigger and the inferno of a reaction, there exists a space. Within that space lies our greatest power. The power to choose our response. The Stoic pause is the sacred habit of intentionally stepping into that space, transforming it from a mere sliver of time into a vast expanse of calm and reason. We live in a culture that prizes immediate reaction. We are conditioned to respond instantly to every email, every comment, every perceived slight. This relentless pressure for immediacy collapses the vital space between stimulus and response, turning us into reactive machines who forfeit our freedom for the illusion of efficiency. The dire problem is that in this reactive state, we are not truly in control. We are operating on primitive instinct, our actions dictated by the oldest, most fearful parts of our brain. The anger loop thrives in this environment of immediacy, for it knows that if it can rush us into a reaction, it has already won the battle. We are left cleaning up the wreckage of words spoken and actions taken in a moment of temporary insanity. The transformative solution is the deliberate and conscious cultivation of the Stoic pause. This is not a passive hesitation. It is an active and courageous choice to create a moment of intentional silence and stillness before we act, speak, or even solidify a thought. The core wisdom of this practice is the understanding that a moment of pause is a moment of power. It is in this space that we can allow the first wave of raw, adrenaline-fueled emotion to pass over us without sweeping us away. It is here that we can access our rational mind, our higher self, the calm and centered archer who can aim with precision rather than shooting blindly in the dark. The pause is the gap where we reclaim our inner sovereignty. The actionable steps to master this habit are simple in theory, but require diligent practice. The first step is to commit to a physical action that represents the pause. It could be taking one slow, deliberate breath, feeling the air fill your lungs and then leave your body. It could be taking a single step back, literally creating physical space between you and the situation. The second step is to use this pause to connect with your body, as we learned in the previous lesson. Notice the tension, notice the heat, and simply observe it without judgment. The third step, and the most advanced, is to say nothing. In a heated moment, the most powerful response is often no response at all, allowing the urge to react to simply dissolve. The immediate benefit of this habit is that you will stop adding fuel to the fire. You will break the cycle of reactive escalation. You will begin to feel a profound sense of control, not over others, but over yourself, which is the only control that truly matters. You will preserve your dignity and your inner peace in situations that previously would have shattered them. Your call to action for this week is to choose your pause ritual. Will it be one deep breath, a step back, a sip of water? Commit to using this ritual at the very first sign of irritation or anger. This is how you train your mind to seek the sanctuary of the pause. Creating this space is the critical first step. But what do we do within this newfound sanctuary of calm? Our next lesson will teach us how to use this space to reframe our thoughts into clarity. If you are committed to mastering the pause, affirm it by liking this video and sharing your chosen ritual in the comments. Lesson 4. Reframing thoughts into clarity. The mind in the grip of anger is a clouded mirror, reflecting a distorted and menacing version of reality. In the calm space created by the Stoic pause, our great work is to wipe that mirror clean, reframing our initial, distorted thoughts into a reflection of crystal clarity and objective truth. When we are triggered, a flood of automatic negative thoughts rushes into our minds. They are disrespecting me. This is completely unfair. I can't believe they did that. We accept these initial thoughts as gospel truth, never questioning their validity. This inner monologue is the very fuel of the anger loop, a story we tell ourselves that justifies and intensifies the rage we feel. The problem is that these first thoughts are almost always based on emotional assumptions rather than rational observation. They are the products of our ego and our past wounds, not of our higher reasoning mind. To act upon these unexamined thoughts is like a ship captain navigating a treacherous coastline using a map drawn by a frightened child. Disaster is almost inevitable. The transformative habit we must cultivate is the art of cognitive reframing. This is the practice of consciously challenging our initial, emotionally charged thoughts and replacing them with objective, rational, and more useful interpretations of the situation. The core Stoic idea is that it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments and opinions about them. Anger arises not from what happened, but from the story we immediately tell ourselves about what it means. The reframe is our opportunity to become the master storyteller of our own minds, choosing a narrative that leads to peace rather than one that leads to war. Imagine you are a judge in a courtroom. Your first, angry thought is the passionate but unreliable testimony of the prosecution. Your duty as a wise judge is to pause, seek out objective evidence, and consider a more balanced and truthful verdict. The actionable steps to practice this reframing are a form of mental discipline. First, within your pause, you must identify the specific thought that is fueling the anger. Isolate the exact sentence in your mind. Second, you must question this thought like a relentless detective. Ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? What is an alternative, more objective way of viewing this situation? What might be their perspective, even if I don't agree with it? Third, you must consciously formulate a new, reframed thought. For example, they are disrespecting me could be reframed as, they are expressing their opinion which differs from mine. This is unfair could become, this is the situation as it is. What is the most constructive way forward? The benefits of this practice are profound. You will begin to dissolve anger at its very root. By changing the thought, you change the emotion. You will cultivate a mind that is more flexible, resilient, and discerning. You will move through the world with a sense of clarity, unburdened by the weight of distorted, angry judgments. Your motivational exercise is to take an entry from your anger journal. Identify the core thought that fueled your anger in that instance. Now, write down at least 3 alternative, more objective reframes for that same thought. This practice will build the mental muscle you need to reframe in real time. Once we have reframed the thought into clarity, we need to ground ourselves in that new, rational perspective. Our next lesson will teach us how to anchor ourselves with a rational focus. If this idea of reframing has brought you a new sense of hope, please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue this journey of self-mastery. Lesson 5. Anchoring self with rational focus. A ship that has weathered a storm needs more than just a calm sea. It needs a destination, a guiding star by which to set its course. After we have paused and reframed our thoughts, we must anchor our mind to a new, rational focus, preventing it from being pulled back into the chaotic currents of the anger loop. The lingering moments after a surge of anger are a vulnerable time. Even after the initial wave has passed and we have challenged our first thoughts, the emotional residue, the adrenaline, the tension, can remain. The mind can easily drift back to replaying the offending event, rehearsing arguments, and stewing in a sense of grievance, thus reigniting the very fire we just worked to extinguish. The problem is a lack of a clear, constructive focal point. Without a specific, rational target for our attention, the mind will default to its old, destructive habits. It will return to the well-worn grooves of the anger loop simply because that is the path of least resistance. We need to intentionally and forcefully steer the ship of our mind toward a new, more productive heading. The transformative habit is to consciously choose a point of rational focus. This means deliberately directing your mental energy away from the problem, the person or event that triggered you, and onto a constructive, solution-oriented, or value-aligned thought. It is the art of giving your mind a new and better job to do. The core Stoic principle at play here is the dichotomy of control. Anger almost always fixates on things we cannot control: the actions of others, past events, the unfairness of the world. The habit of rational focus involves wrenching our attention away from the uncontrollable and placing it firmly on the only thing we do control: our own next thought, our own next action, our own character. Imagine you are an archer. The anger loop wants you to keep staring at the target you just missed. The practice of rational focus is to calmly turn your back on that missed target, draw a new arrow, and place all of your attention on the precise form and intention required for your next perfect shot. The actionable steps to cultivate this habit require a decisive mental shift. First, after reframing your thought, explicitly ask yourself the focusing question: what is within my control right now? This question acts as a powerful rudder for the mind. Second, choose your focus. It could be on a practical solution. What is the next single step I can take to resolve this? It could be on a Stoic virtue. How can I respond to this with courage and temperance? Or it could be on a simple physical sensation. I will focus only on the feeling of my feet on the floor. Third, gently but firmly redirect your attention back to this chosen focus every time it wanders back to the grievance. The benefit of this habit is that you will learn to starve the anger loop of its primary food source, your attention. You will transition from being problem-focused to being solution-focused. This practice builds immense mental discipline and reinforces a deep sense of personal agency, reminding you that no matter the situation, you always have the power to choose where you place your mind. Your call to action is to pre-select your go-to focusing questions. Write down 1 or 2 powerful questions like, what is truly important right now? Or, how would my best self handle this? Keep them somewhere you can see them so they are ready when you need them. Anchoring our focus in the moment is crucial. But how do we build a mind that is inherently calmer and less prone to anger in the first place? Our next lesson will explore how to master calm through consistent daily rituals. Has this lesson given you a new perspective on where to place your focus? Let us know in the comments. Lesson 6. Mastering calm through daily rituals. A mighty fortress is not built in a day, nor during the heat of a battle. It is constructed brick by brick, day by day, during times of peace, so that it stands strong and unbreachable when the inevitable attacks come. Similarly, a calm and resilient mind is not forged in the moment of anger, but is meticulously built through the power of consistent, daily rituals. We often treat our emotional well-being as something to be dealt with only when there is a problem. We wait until we are overwhelmed with anger or anxiety to try and find our center. This is like waiting until your house is on fire to look for a water source. It is a reactive strategy that is almost doomed to fail. The problem is that a mind that is not regularly trained for peace will naturally default to chaos under pressure. Without a baseline of tranquility and a well-practiced familiarity with a state of calm, our attempts to find it in a crisis will feel foreign and ineffective. We must make peace our home, not just a place we visit in an emergency. The transformative habit is the integration of daily rituals specifically designed to cultivate inner stillness and resilience. This is the practice of proactively training your mind for peace, so that calm becomes your natural default state rather than a desperate aspiration. The core wisdom here is that our mental and emotional state is a product of our daily habits. The Stoics were masters of routine, understanding that small, consistent actions compound over time to build an unshakable character. A daily ritual, even one that lasts only a few minutes, acts as a training ground for the mind, strengthening the muscles of focus, patience, and equanimity. It is like an athlete's daily training. The work done in practice is what ensures victory on game day. The actionable steps to build this habit are about consistency, not duration. First, choose a simple ritual that resonates with you. This could be a 5-minute silent meditation in the morning, where you focus only on your breath. It could be reading a single page of Stoic philosophy each day. Or it could be a negative visualization exercise, where you spend a moment contemplating potential challenges in your day and rehearsing a calm response. Second, schedule this ritual into your day as a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. The same time, every day. Third, focus on the process, not the immediate result. Some days your mind will be calm, some days it will be scattered. The victory lies simply in showing up and doing the ritual. The profound benefit of this habit is that you will fundamentally change your neurological baseline. You will build a reservoir of inner peace that you can draw upon when you need it most. Anger will find it much harder to take root in a mind that is regularly tilled with stillness and fertilized with wisdom. You are no longer just fighting fires, you are building a fireproof fortress. Your motivational practice for this week is to choose one simple, 5-minute daily ritual and to complete it for 7 consecutive days. The challenge is not the ritual itself, but the consistency. This is your commitment to proactively building your inner peace. These daily rituals build our foundation of calm. But the ultimate test comes when we must interact with the world. Our next lesson will focus on the final crucial choice we must make in the anger loop. The choice of response over reaction. If you are ready to build your fortress, please like this video to affirm your commitment. Lesson 7. Choosing response over reaction cycles. The unskilled fighter wildly swings with every provocation, quickly exhausting their energy and leaving themselves vulnerable. The master fighter, however, remains perfectly still, observing their opponent's moves, conserving their strength, and choosing the precise moment to execute a single, decisive, and effective response. This is the ultimate expression of power. We have reached the final gate of the anger loop, the critical juncture where all our practice is put to the test. This is the moment of interaction, the moment where we either fall back into the old destructive cycle of knee-jerk reaction, or we ascend to the higher path of reasoned, intentional response. The problem is that the cycle of reaction is deeply ingrained. A harsh word is met with a harsher word. An aggressive action is met with an aggressive defense. This eye for an eye mentality creates endless loops of conflict and misery, not just with others, but within our own soul. Every time we react, we deepen the groove of that negative habit, making it more likely we will fall into it again in the future. We are caught in a self-perpetuating cycle of our own making. The transformative habit, the culmination of all our work, is the conscious and unwavering choice to respond rather than react. A reaction is instinctual, emotional, and automatic. A response, by contrast, is thoughtful, intentional, and aligned with our highest values. It is the deliberate action we choose to take from the calm, clear space we have learned to create. The core Stoic principle here is the ultimate expression of our personal freedom. While we cannot control the actions of others, we have absolute and total sovereignty over our own. To react is to cede that sovereignty, to allow another person's poor behavior to dictate our own. To respond, however, is to assert our freedom, to declare that no matter what happens externally, we will remain the calm and rational masters of our own inner citadel. This is the final victory over the anger loop. The actionable steps to solidify this habit occur in the heat of the moment itself. First, having recognized the trigger, paused, and reframed, you must ask yourself the ultimate question: what response would be most aligned with the person I want to be? This question lifts you out of the petty details of the conflict and connects you to your highest self. Second, consider your options. A response could be a calm and assertive statement of your boundaries. It could be strategic silence, it could be a compassionate question, or it could be the choice to calmly walk away. Third, execute your chosen response with quiet confidence, detached from the outcome or the other person's reaction to it. Your goal is to act with virtue, not to achieve a specific result. The benefit of this habit is liberation. You will finally break free from the chains of reactive cycles. You will navigate conflicts with a newfound sense of dignity and grace. You will earn not only the respect of others, but more importantly, your own self-respect. You will know at the deepest level that you are the one in control. Your call to action is to visualize a recent conflict where you reacted poorly. Now, replay that scene in your mind, but this time, pause and choose a reasoned, virtuous response. Rehearse this new outcome in your mind several times. This mental rehearsal prepares you for your next real-world test. We have now covered the habits to break the anger loop in the moment. But how do we ensure this inner peace becomes a permanent state of being? Our final lesson will explore the art of sustaining this tranquility for the long term. If you are committed to responding with wisdom, subscribe to Stoic Dominion and join our community of modern practitioners. Lesson 8. Sustaining inner peace long-term. A fire, once extinguished, must be watched carefully. The embers can remain hot for a long time, and a single careless gust of wind can spark a new blaze. In the same way, breaking the anger loops is a momentous victory, but the work of sustaining that inner peace is a lifelong and noble practice. Many of us achieve moments of breakthrough. We have a period of calm and clarity, feeling that we have finally conquered our anger for good. But then, inevitably, life presents a new and unexpected challenge, and we find ourselves slipping back into old, familiar patterns, leaving us feeling discouraged and defeated. The problem is viewing emotional mastery as a destination to be reached, rather than a path to be walked every single day. We stop doing the very things that brought us peace in the first place. We neglect our daily rituals, we forget to practice the pause, and we let our guard down. Sustaining peace requires the same, if not more, diligence than achieving it initially. The final and most vital habit is the commitment to lifelong practice and self-reflection. It is the humble recognition that we are never truly cured of our human frailties, but that we can become ever more skilled at managing them with grace, wisdom, and courage. It is about embracing the journey of continuous growth. The core Stoic idea is that philosophy is not a subject to be studied, but a way of life to be lived. Sustaining inner peace is not about achieving a permanent state of bliss, but about becoming an expert at returning to your center more and more quickly each time you are thrown off balance. The goal is not to never stumble, but to become incredibly graceful at regaining your footing. The actionable steps for this sustaining habit are about weaving these practices into the fabric of your life. First, institute a weekly review. Set aside 15 minutes each week to reflect on your progress. Where did you respond with wisdom? Where did you fall back into reaction? What can you learn from both your successes and your failures? Second, continue to seek wisdom. Never stop reading, learning, and engaging with the philosophical ideas that support your growth. Keep the flame of your inspiration alive. Third, practice forgiveness for others, but most importantly, for yourself. When you slip up, as you inevitably will, do not despair. View it not as a failure, but as a valuable data point, an opportunity to learn and refine your practice. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would offer a good friend. The benefit of this habit is the cultivation of a deep and abiding inner peace that is resilient and anti-fragile. It is a peace that is not dependent on a perfect, problem-free life. You will develop a quiet confidence that you can handle whatever life throws at you, not because you won't feel anger, but because you will know exactly what to do when you do. Your final practice is a commitment. It is the decision, here and now, to view this journey not as a short-term fix, but as a lifelong art form that you are dedicated to mastering. Let this commitment be your silent vow to yourself. You now have the 8 essential habits to break the anger loops and sustain a life of greater peace and self-command. Which of these habits do you feel will be most transformative for you? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your journey inspires this entire community. We have journeyed together through the heart of anger, not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a process to be understood and mastered. By uncovering its triggers, pausing to find our power, and consciously choosing our response, we transform the destructive loops of reaction into a noble path of virtuous action. Thank you for dedicating your time to this vital inner work. If these habits have provided you with a new map toward peace, please like this video, comment with your insights, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue walking this path of strength and wisdom together.